Good morning and welcome back to me destroying an Echo. Last week, pretty much got the interior stripped out, the engine stripped out, half the body's off, pretty much ruined the Echo. And got it to a point where the 7Age was sitting, well, floating in the bay. But this week, let's get that bastard mounted because that just makes everything so much easier. It's one of the big 5 hurdles, I think. I don't know what the other 4 are, there might be more, but it's definitely one of the big 5. One of the things I managed to do during the week, which will make this all a little bit easier, is sitting in here inside the car. We've got a bit of a tunnel. So this is a Mad Dat tunnel, made for a Datsun 1200 Ute. I've used them before, I just like the shape of them, and I don't have the time to go source the steel, go to a bender, so it was cheaper just to buy one off the shelf. Unfortunately, off the shelf didn't work. You can see there I've got about a 4-inch gap at the back. The sides, I cut too much out. I can plate that, no dramas there. But your front's tacked on. I don't know about the shifter height. That could be the bit that buggers me up. Depends on the gap between the tunnel and the actual shifter plate. We've got enough room for the clutch pedal over there. That is good. Ended up destroying the steering rack intermediate shaft hole, but not an issue there really, as things have evolved and that hole's not going to be used anymore. Engine bay wise, everything is pretty much the same. I've just got ahead of myself, mocked up a couple of bits of steel here, and I've got a steering rack. This isn't the steering rack that came out of the car, this is out of a newer Yaris. So it's only got a mount here, a mount there, and it's a manual rack because it suits an electric column. And as you can see there, the intermediate shaft will want to go straight through there to the rack. So I'm going to make a new hole for that. So the other hole didn't matter. This hole is going to be a bit of a mystery how I do it. But before I can actually mount the rack, I need to float the engine in there again, check clearance, and to make sure that there's clearance, I had to put the gearbox on. So gearbox is on the engine. So are a set of extractors. This is a bit of a mystery by these ones. Couldn't find some extractors I want anywhere in the world unless I paid bloody thousands and thousands of dollars. Found these ones out of Malaysia. A little bit weathered, but I like them. A little bit of a banana to the exhaust flange too. But they look the part. They ended up getting coated anyway, so the fact that weather's not the end of the world. And I've got a couple of plates on either side of the engine for engine mounts. Well, that's enough pissing around. It's getting hot out here, nice Melbourne summer's day. Let's mock fit this motor to start the bloody morning off, eh? See how much work I'm actually in for. See how I go making some mounts. There we have it. A very, very loose mock fit. Engine's tilted a little bit. Probably not square, but you get the idea. Just got enough room off the firewall if you can see around behind there. But yeah, we got a steering rack kind of in position, but enough clearance. Tunnel's got enough clearance. Exhaust, I have to trim that K-frame out, which I planned on doing anyway, so that is good. Engine mounts, not sure how I'm going to handle them. And in here to the gearbox, get in there. And in here to the gearbox, you can see she's on a little bit of an angle, but it's going to be perfect, I think. Might take that up just a touch, but that whole section is going to have to get lifted another 4 inches up to the back there. But that is easy. I'm happy to do that because I can still keep the sides. Keeps a lot of support, and I can keep the factory seat positions, which was a win. Round back to the front now. From here, what I have to do, I need to mount that steering rack, which is a bit of a bastard as I got to square it up. Probably bring it back a little bit and pretty much just get everything where it needs to be there so I can work out engine mounts and how I'm going to do them. Good. Looking at the engine mounts, I've already prepared. We've got a Land Rover engine mount here. Just welded a big fat washer to a bit of roll cage tube. So I can have that sit wherever I want, like bang, pipe between the two, job done. Which would be easy, but I got to brace whatever I attach it to. That is the hardest bit. But if I went back there, it's too close to the heat probably. I kind of want to go like that. Not really. I don't know. I'm going to have to mess around. The problem is mounting the steering rack. Do I leave a big bit of steel off that I box up, brace up to that engine mount, and use that for them? So ideally, if that could sit there, beautiful. I don't know. I really don't know. Still too early for this. I didn't expect to be at this point already. I guess at this point I'm just going to try and mock a couple of options up and see how I go. Probably cut, weld, tack, cut, get angry, walk away, go have something to eat, come back, cut, weld, and then I'll show you where I get up to, and it's looking beautiful. This right here is some pre-lunch success if I ever seen it. She's in there tight. Still got to do a little bit of bracing, just put a little bit off the side. Not welded the best at the moment, and you can see my white marks there where I'm going to trim everything back. Would have been nice if I cut them both sides even. Definitely would have been easier, but we've had the shaft wind in and out each way, make sure it's even to the pole. Pretty much, I think it's about 3 mil further that way, but that's okay. It's front to back, it's even. So we're away laughing now. See, this one's a little bit crooked, but much of a muchness, doesn't even matter. We got both of our engine mount bases ready to go, so I can tighten the nuts up on the bottom, tighten the nuts up on the top, and then this fella can go back in. Exhaust off for now. It's just easier to work without it on there, and it was only 2 bolts. So pretty much from now, slide the engine back in, build the mounts, and then once those mounts are made, I can work out the gearbox. Pretty much, I'd say the engine can stay in, but it can't. I got to pull the front K support out, cut those bits I've marked out, brace them across, like box them in, and then it'll go back in, and it'll put a bit of roll cage tube between both sides as well. Just a little bit more reinforcement, you know, because she's not probably as strong as it needs to be yet. Oh, the challenges, eh? But I'm feeling pretty bloody successful at the moment. I reckon by the end of today I'm going to have the motor and gearbox both bolted in. Not for good, but as good as can be at the moment. Then maybe even go as far as cutting the top half of this tunnel out. Even back, a bit worried what's under there, but I can reinforce that. But yeah, we'll cut the top half of that out. So now I'm ready to put the diff in. That way I can see how high I want to get that diff. And maybe even cut the shifter hole. Looking at this, I reckon, I mean I can tack the back here. That's not the end of the world. I reckon I'm probably going to go shift gearbox mounts on the side of this. So I'm probably just going to have to brace up that real good. That's easy enough, right? The other things that keep me up at night, thinking about how I'm going to mount silly stuff like that I can't control when I'm lying in bed, but it's all I can think about. Absolute silly stuff. Get this engine sitting back into location, duck down the road, grab some lunch, and then just go absolutely nuts for a few hours, especially because it's a beautiful day today. Really glad I'm working outside. I feel like there's so much to do, but absolutely kicking the car's ass today. It's awesome. God damn it. I hate working with roll cage tube. I'm not a fabricator. I'm happy to admit that. But we've got a level on there. We've got this support in. Just checking that angle. We got 1 bar in. This bastard here is in. Not the best gaps, but I should be able to get the TIG out. Take that into the garage, get the TIG out, make that nice. The other side, I thought I had it nice. That's why I've got the level on. It wasn't that nice, so it's been removed. And I'll do that again after lunch. Notching with a grinder and flap disc sucks. Making engine mounts with tube sucks. I'd rather just do it how I normally do, out of flat plate. reinforce the bastards, but we're getting there, eh? So have some lunch, get that done, get the TIG out, zip zap zap, get them all done. Should be happy days. I mean, not that happy at the moment, but I want food. Fuck me sideways, this is exciting. It's holding its own weight in the engine bay. Fuck yeah. You can see down there the engine mounts. Not my best work, not my worst work. Works pretty fucking good though. Still got to obviously put the rack ends in. The pedestals the mounts are sitting on need a fair bit of reinforcement. That's the word I'm looking for. Bloody all hot and bothered out here. But that can happen when they come off. Doesn't move, really wiggle. Just a little wee bit. Same as this side's all done. Heaps of clearance for everything else, which is awesome. Even at the back here, throttle's got enough clearance, and being the TPS has got clearance, not that it's getting used. We got about, I don't know, 8mm at the back of the head to the firewall. And then we go in here. She is still central. Gearbox is still central, which is a win. And I'd really like to mount the gearbox, but I'm not sure how I'm going to do that yet. I might just wing it, you know. Just have to change how the gearbox is getting held up at the moment. If I can mount the gearbox, it can stay in here overnight, and then tomorrow, obviously when I need to, it'll come out before the week starts, just to protect it a little bit. Other than that, I just have to cover everything up. Might leave it in there. We'll see. Probably going to end up with rusty bloody mounts now. Have to paint them. Yeah, fuck it. We'll see how we go. Let's get a gearbox mount made, eh? See how we go here. I'll show you along a bit of the process of this one, I reckon. Quickly just made up some triangles to attack in the side of the tunnel. Now she's nice and strong. Done that on both sides. Kind of looks like she should be there now. She's bloody sick. And I've got this bit of roll cage tube. Just an offcut from one of the boys. Cliff was nice enough to give that to me from just a misbend, I believe. So we'll get under here. This is where I wish I had a hoist. Just silly little things like this. As you join me in my uncomfort, I think that bar is going to sit off the side of the plate, up there like that, and it'll go to the flat of the floor over there. That way there'll be enough room for the exhaust to shoot through here as well. Otherwise there's going to be no room for that. So there to there, and that bend will actually work really well. Job done. Now I have to build some plates. That legitimately sucks trying to film under there. Just got to build some sandwich plates. That way it's bolts on one side and the other side's on the other side of the floor. I'll probably tack them in. A bit of 3mm steel. But I did just look at the time, so that's going to be a job for tomorrow, because it's bloody 4 o'clock. I got dinner soon. I might cut the plates up quickly, but I dare say that's me done for the day. More tomorrow, or a couple of seconds for you guys. Well, she's another beautiful day out here in Melbourne, but I'd be lying if I didn't finish yesterday with a few blowouts. The MIG torch completely shat itself. The liner's gone, the head's gone, well, the tip's gone, so I'm waiting on a new one of those to come. Managed to get enough tacks on the cross member that I was able to finish that and bust out the TIG this morning. You can see there, a couple of through plates. I'll tack them on when the weld is good. And under there, there's a bit of a ladder bar set up going on, another plate on the other side. And I thought, for the sake of it, let's bolt the shifter in. And it's a little bit disappointing. So much throw. So if you guys know a better T50 shifter that doesn't have as much throw, and just a way to make them not as sloppy before I start looking into it myself, would love to hear about it. But she's looking like a bit of a real drive car again. Well, for the first time in its life. And I figured, why not? I've put all this effort into getting the motor in there. Let's have some mid-build motivation again. So I've slapped some front end panels on. I've got the old headlights on. We've got the Sportivo bumper. She's looking like a car. And then we go over here, you know, pop the bonnet. Boom. Radiator sitting in there. Extractor's back on. Chuck the top on the swirl pot. She's looking good. Looking real good. I am so happy with how this turned out. I reckon I probably could have put the motor a little bit further back, but this is good and it's given me enough clearance everywhere. I think I might have ran into a bit of problems with the clutch line otherwise. Even now, I'm just wrapped with that. Looks like it's kind of meant to be in there. The engine mounts need to have a little bit of reinforcing, so I've just got a scissor jack under there for a bit of safety so I don't come back to some bends. Just on one side, you know. Minimal precautions, but a little bit. This brake master, she's meant to have a proportioning valve. I don't want to run the proportioning valve. So I think I'm going to swap that booster out to a Nissan one, chuck a Nissan Master in there, and that'll be good. Like in clutch master, I'll just chuck a remote reservoir on that. Don't know how I'll mount that yet, but it's a later problem, you know. Otherwise, obviously all the holes are going to get welded up and all that jazz. Going to have to make all the fuel lines, the brake lines, because some bastard cut them off. But yeah, how good does that look? Bloody hell. Just imagine these trumpets all the single colour. Yeah, extractors cleaned up nice. One problem I'm going to face is this steering rack. The intermediate shaft is going to be on an angle the uni's not going to be overly happy at, to be honest. I think it's going to be sitting like that, which is not far off the most extreme it can handle. I think it'll just be okay. It'll come through about there. But yeah, that's a later problem. Definitely encountering a few later problems already. Just basking in all the joy of my build now, you know. Just sometimes stop and stare at what I'm doing. Because I don't think I really want to do much more today without having more materials here. There's definitely a few jobs I could jump into. I think the steering column will be one of the next ones, so I might just take my time, work on that off camera. Just investigate a couple of other things with the rear end and the likes. But I don't think I'm going to do too much more on the car today. Just going to enjoy this beautiful day. Maybe go for a drive, take the Ferrari out. Why not? Just embrace the day.